I'm Laurie Dennis. I'm the Assistant Director for the Center for East Asian Studies. And I want to welcome you to today's event, which is part of our center's spring semester series on East Asian Studies. We're funded through a federal grant as a Title VI National Resource Center. This is our only webinar of the semester, so if you are on campus in Madison, please consider joining some of our in-person events, including talks on Korean relations with the US, the history of Chinese students at UW, Tibetan calligraphy, and more. While this is our only webinar, it is part of a vibrant series on Chinese pragmatics that we are very excited to be hosting. Our own Professor Weihua Zhu launched this webinar series in the spring of 2022 by inviting speakers on Chinese linguistics topics, starting with Daniel Kadar of the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, and followed by Hong Wei of Purdue University, Sun Jin Ai of North Central College in Illinois, and most recently, Tao Hongyin of UCLA. You can find all of our events through our Facebook page. And you can also sign up for our Monday newsletter at the bottom of our homepage, eastasia.wisc.edu. And now I will turn things over to Professor Zhu to introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Laurie. So hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker, Dr. Yunwen Su. Dr. Su is an assistant professor of Chinese linguistics and director of the Chinese program at UIUC. Her research focuses on the pragmatic aspect of communication or language use in context, in other words. She has been working on the development, assessment, and pedagogy of second language pragmatics. She also researches Chinese pragmatics from variational and cross-cultural perspectives. Her work on pragmatics has appeared in Journal of Pragmatics, Language Learning and Technology, Foreign Language Annals, System, the Modern Language Journal, Applied Pragmatics, Journal of Planet Research, and edited volumes. She serves on the editorial board of East Asian Pragmatics. Here to discuss variations in Chinese gift offering and acceptance interactions, please welcome Dr. Yunwen Su.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Laurie and Weihua, for the invitation and also for the nice introduction. So I'll start my slides now. So let me know if you can see it all right. Yeah. I guess everything's okay, working. Okay. So, so good afternoon and thank you for coming to this talk about variations in Chinese gift offering and acceptance interactions. First, I'd like to acknowledge that this is a collaborative project that I am working with Dr. Yingling Bao from Indiana University, Bloomington. And the project is sponsored by Center for International Business Education and Research at IU Bloomington, funded by the Department of Education. Gift giving and acceptance as a communicative event is not unique to Chinese. Scholars have examined this phenomenon from many different disciplines, including anthropology, communication studies, international business and management, and foreign language education. Studies have examined the motives and contexts for gift giving and how these motives and contexts can influence gift giving behaviors, including what gift to give, how to give it, and how to accept it.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Dr. Su, I don't think I can see your slides.
oh, yeah. So I forgot to share screen. Is that okay now? Can you? Yeah. All right. Okay. Sorry for the like accident. All right. That's why. So I've just briefly talked about, why gift giving and acceptance, like as a widespread phenomenon, and it's very important. And in the Chinese context, gift offering and acceptance is believed to be an intricate politeness phenomenon with elaborated rituals due to its social cultural symbolism. And in this example, for example, the interlocutor is bringing Jian Yan, who just recently moved to his new apartment, a vase as a housewarming gift. And so he started a conversation. Your apartment is really nice. Oh, I also feel it's very nice. I've been thinking about dropping by, and so here I've brought your vase. And then we see that Yan answered with a refusal at line 5. Why are you so polite? So which is kind of a refusal. And then he rejected again at line 8. This really makes me feel embarrassed. Before he accepted at line 10, thank you. And so we can see that actually the interlocutor, the gift giver, played down by saying that, oh, this is really a small gift, it's inexpensive. And when you compare the Chinese role play elicited from the English role play elicited from the same scenario, and you'll see that it's much shorter and straightforward, like here on the top. Wow, this is your new place, huh? Yeah, it looks really nice. I brought this vase with some flowers for you. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. It's really beautiful. I'll put it right here on the table. And then it's not surprising for us to see abundant anecdotal stories of foreign visitors to China being amazed at what they see at the seesaw battle of gift giving and declining. In fact, Chen 2019 has cited studies about gift giving together with other benefiting offering speech acts in Chinese, such as dinner invitation and food plying at a dinner, as evidence for the East-West divide position in pragmatics research by referring to the decline before acceptance sequence found in Zhu et al. 2000, and which is like this one. So you have to decline before you accept it. A close review of the literature reveals that despite the general belief that gift offering and acceptance as a communicative event demonstrates cross-cultural differences in terms of sequential organization between Chinese and Western languages, there are very few studies that actually examine empirical production data in Chinese, with Zhu et al.'s 2000 study being the only exception. They found that all of the 71 valid gift offering and acceptance conversations collected by observation sheets represented sequentially embedded gift offers and the pre-acceptance refusals, which they consider as obligatory in this kind of conversations. However, in my own 2020 study about sincere and ritual, or what we call ostensible refusals of Chinese invitations and offers, I found that the refusal before acceptance sequence, which has been identified as representative of Chinese invitational and offering conversation by politeness researchers earlier and evident in Zhu et al.'s 2000 study, is not obligatory. I identified several situational or socio-pragmatic constraints for use of these kind of pre-acceptance refusals, including motivation for and type of the initiating speech act, the power relation between the interlocutors, and point out that other factors such as age, gender, sincerity of the initiating speech act might also be at play. And the situational constraints such as power relation and occasion, as well as the other constraints such as gender and age mentioned in my 2020 paper, correspond to the two levels of social context that constitute the basis of variational pragmatics by Baron and Schneider. That is the micro-social context and the macro-social context. So context here is a multifaceted concept, which is built-in interaction and continuously changing. Building on Fesser's 2010 conceptualization of context as consisting of a linguistic, cognitive, social, and social cultural layer, this figure from Barron 2021 depicts the multiple facets of context to be considered in cross-varietal analysis and also introduces a more differentiated concept of social layer. And the discrepancy between the findings of Zhu et al. 2000 and Su 2020 could be attributed to a number of factors. We used different methods of data collection, so observation sheets. So in Zhu's study, they actually sent their participants to the field, and then they bring back their report in observation sheets. So they recall those conversations instead of record them. Whereas my own 2020 study used elicited role plays. Our participants were also of different profiles in terms of gender and age. And the two studies actually targeted at different constructs primarily. Zhu's study focuses on gift offer and acceptance, whereas my study is is actually about responses to invitations and offers in which two scenarios are gift offers, so kind of relevant. We also use different approaches to data analysis, and above all, the two studies happened at different time points with 22 years apart. So when you think about it, Chen and Yang 2010 actually talked about the drastic changes of Chinese complements collected in the same place 23 years apart. And so and so we know that the time could also be one of the contributing factors. Above all, neither study actually is primarily designed to examine variation, which is the focus of this project. So whereas sequential variation of gift offering and acceptance interactions were, and how, the variational aspect of it were not of primary concern for Zhu's 2000 study, their 1998 study analyzed the factors that contributed to the different sub-patterns of the refusal before acceptance sequence identified in their 2000 study, and found that how the gifts are offered and accepted is determined by the relationship between the interlocutors and the motive. Nevertheless, their analysis were based on questionnaire and interview data rather than production data. So that is, they analyzed what people said, how they would offer or accept a gift in a certain scenario and why, instead of analyzing the actual communication. In addition, the way they operationalized the motive for gift giving was actually tied closely to occasion, which I will revisit later in this talk. And apart from the micro contextual variables, the macro social variables of gender has also been found by many communication scholars to affect gift-giving behaviors. For example, Webster and Nottingham 2000, as well as Close 2012. The present study thus aims to examine the sequential organization of gift offering and acceptance interactions between native speakers of Chinese within the framework of variational pragmatics, with the idea that structural variations in this kind of phenomenon and the factors that contribute to the variations are worth investigating 24 years now after Zhu's 2000 seminal work. The study asks the following questions. To what extent do micro and macro social variables, including gender, occasion or motive, power relation, affect how college-age native speakers of Chinese 1, sequentially position gift giving and acceptance, and 2, use specific pragmatic strategies to realize gift giving and acceptance. So the data collection consisted of 3 steps. First is the need analysis. A gift-giving scenario questionnaire was given to 43 native speakers, including 19 males and 24 females, 18 to 20 years old, who were all first and second year college students in the same university in northern China. The questionnaire asked them to describe gift-giving situations in 6 occasions as in Drew's study, including expressing thanks, seeking favor, special celebration, visiting the sick, traditional festivals, return from a trip, as well as any other gift-giving situations that were not in any of those categories. And in the end, a 12 scenario gift offering and acceptance role play task was developed based on the questionnaire data representing 6 occasions in 2 power relations. And I want to bring to your attention that we only manipulated social distance. So yeah, and did not, and kept, and we actually kept the power relation constant. And so we see that this minus power, minus P means minus power. So the 2 speakers involved in each conversation are considered of equal power, but one is a large social distance, like a stranger, someone you don't know that well, and one is a minus distance, that is someone you know pretty well. We did that because that's obviously what college age students in China have the most experience of. And in that way, it's authentic, it's representative of what they have frequent exposure to. Here's what a scenario prompt looks like. Pretty straightforward, and you can read it if you speak Chinese. But basically, there are scenarios like you give someone a pen, and it's like a senior college student who's going to graduate as a graduation gift. You also buy your friend a cup of milk tea to thank him or her for helping you review for the final exam of a class, like this kind of situations. A total of 80 participants, native speakers of Mandarin Chinese in northern China, were recruited in 4 gender combinations. You can see the combinations and the symbols representing them here. Male gift giver and male and female gift recipient. Group 2 is male gift giver and male gift recipient. And then we have the female gift giver and female recipient, female giver and male recipient. A total of 480 role plays were collected. They were all coded by both researchers for positions and strategies of gift giving and acceptances. All gift offers in this study are found to be sequentially embedded in, just as in Zhu et al. 2000. That is, the direct presentation of the gift is delayed by other strategies, either within the turn or across turns. There's never a case that someone just say, hey, here's a gift. I give you a gift directly without any delay. The direct acceptance could appear, so the acceptance of the gift could appear next turn that is adjacent to the presentation of the gift, either at the turn initial or non-turn initial position, or distal to the gift presentation, either delayed across turns or never appear verbally. So we're gonna see some examples later. So don't worry if you cannot get it here yet. And we also coded the strategies of gift giving and gift acceptance, which you can see here. Cannot open, yeah. So me actually. yeah, we'll come back to the strategies a little bit later. I'll give you examples. So data analysis were primarily quantitative. Descriptive statistics were obtained by calculating the percentage distribution of different positions of gift offering and acceptances, and the frequencies and the standard deviations of those strategies. We use generalized estimating equations to examine the effects of gender, occasion, and power relation on positions of and the pragmatic strategies in gift giving and acceptances. And now let's look at the results. For research question 1, which is about position of gift giving and acceptance, effects of gender are obvious even from descriptive statistics. Let's look at the bar chart on the left, and you can see that the blue section of each bar represents a cross-turn delay. So that is the person, when the person gives a gift, he starts from something else. For example, it could be as brief as a greeting. So how are you today? Are you feeling well? When they are, when the person's visiting someone sick. And after the person respond, and then he gives the gift. Yeah, this is called a cross-turn delay. The orange section of each bar represents what we call the within turn delay, which means the gift giving action, the direct presentation of the gift happens immediately when the person started talking, but still delayed within the same term. For example, oh, I heard you've been sick, and so I bring this basket, the fruit basket for you. Happens in the same term. And we can see here that and what we can see here is these two bars, female, and male, I'll call them same gender groups. The same gender groups were more likely to delay their gift giving across turns. So that's why the blue sections are bigger than the orange sections. Whereas gift givers in different gender pairs, and so we'll see here, so it's female, male, or male, female. They would only delay gift giving within the initial term briefly. And now let's look at the bar chart on the right, which is about position of acceptance. And as for the position of gift acceptance, gift recipients in different gender groups. So let's see it here. So first of all, I want to remind you, so when someone accepts a gift, the acceptance could happen in the next turn, which can be broken down into turn initial or within turn delay, or it could, the acceptance doesn't have to happen until after several turns. And in some cases, it never happens at all. And these are called distal. So the next turn kind of delay is, the next turn acceptance is the blue section and the orange section, whereas the yellow and gray are the distal acceptances. And we could see that gift recipients in different gender groups, so male, female, and female, male, blue plus orange are much bigger than yellow and gray. And what does it mean? It means that they tended to accept the gift right away in the next turn, which is also the case for same gender. So it's the same case for FF and MM. However, production elicited from the same gender groups showed a higher number of distal acceptances. Yeah, so this part in female, and male are obviously bigger than in the different gender groups. So there's definitely some gender effects here, and what does it mean? We'll come back to it in discussion. Descriptive stats also demonstrated a potential effect of occasion, specifically seeking favor and express thanks, which you can see here in the two red boxes, seeking favor and expressing thanks. They seem to represent a higher percentage of gift giving delayed across turns. Like in these two scenarios, the gift giver didn't give a gift until after several turns. And it's the same for when someone accepts the gift. And it actually, their acceptance were also delayed across turns. And in some cases, there's never a direct verbal acceptance, just for these two scenarios. Why? We'll come back to that in discussion as well. Power relation, when we come to power, and I have to remind you that in our design, we only manipulated distance, social distance, and we kept the power relation the same. So it's always between peers, but what is different is whether you know the peer well or you don't. Power relation doesn't seem to have any effect on gift acceptance, so the one on the right, but it does have an effect on gift giving. So if you take a look at here, and we see in minus P plus D, that is someone you don't know very well, in this kind of situation, we see that the gift giver was more likely to give the gift immediately, so which is represented by the orange section. Whereas in the solidarity relationship, that is when the gift giver knows the other person very well, there's actually more negotiation. It's delayed, represented by the blue section. So now let's move on to the results of research question 2 about pragmatic strategies. So although I was not able to show you the Word document with a coding scheme, you'll see pretty like a lot of examples here, so don't worry about it. A full-fledged sequence of gift giving consists of pre-gift giving, gift giving, and post-gift giving, in which the post-gift giving part is not always necessary. That's why there's a parenthesis there. We see that participants tended to use different numbers and combinations of pragmatic strategies within each part in different occasions. For example, the gift offering sequence in seeking favor, so you give someone a gift and you want a person to help you with something, it often started with a request for the favor instead of some kind of small talk. And this kind of favor is coded as talking about the occasion. So the occasion could be, oh, this is your graduation, or, oh, this is my problem and I want you to help me. And so, and then the gift presenting part was often very brief, with only direct presentation of the gift after the request was accepted. And in contrast, so express thanks often elicited elaborated gift presenting and post-gift presenting sequences. So express thanks is the situation someone already helped you with something, and then you approach that person with a gift to show your appreciation. And usually it has, you know, the gift giver would need to give some information about a gift, usually by saying, oh, it's an inexpensive gift, like here. More information about a gift. So 我在一家小店看到的一点儿也不贵. Oh, I just got it from a small, from a store, and it's inexpensive. Sorry, it's jumping. And I hope you'll like it. Something like that. Yeah. And now let's look at the numbers. We have not yet run inferential statistics on pragmatic strategies, but you know, let's look at these numbers. This is a bar chart representing all strategies by gender combination. And you'll see here, again, there's male, female, male, male, female, female, and female, male, 4 groups, with the first letter representing the gift giver, the second letter representing the gift recipient. And please note that these 4 are the core gift presenting strategies, including guessing, guess what is a gift? Yeah, direct presentation. So, hey, here's a gift. more information. So I got it from a street vendor the other day, and I think you might like it and hope for liking. I'm not sure if you'll like it or not, but I just bring it here. And all the others are either pre or post gift presenting strategies. And we can see that the female male group represented by the yellow bar tended to produce the highest number of strategies, the yellow bar, especially the pre-gift giving strategies of occasion and motive. Occasion and motive is when they are justifying their gift giving. Why I am giving you this gift? Because, oh, you're going to graduate very soon and you helped me so much, so I brought this pen for you. Yeah, and as well as the post-gift giving strategies of small talk. So including stuff like, you give someone a gift after you return from a business trip to Shanghai, let's say, and you tell the person about your trip and weather, stuff like that. And next to it is the MF group, that is male gift giver and female gift recipient. It's represented by the blue bar. An observation here is that the different gender groups, either MF or FM, used a higher number of strategies than the same gender group in general. Yeah, they used more strategies. This chart illustrates use of pragmatic strategies by occasion, different situations. We can see that most occasions elicited many pre-gift giving strategies of occasion and motive, as well as many direct presentation strategies. Traditional festival, which is the green bar, and also the visiting the sick, which is a blue bar, tended to elicit fewer number of occasion of motive, but more greetings, as you can see here, greeting and response to greeting. Visiting the sick also elicit higher number of good wishes than the other scenarios. And all of these are actually expected in this kind of situation. And I don't think there's any cross-cultural differences. It's probably cross-linguistically valid. We cannot see a clear influence of power relation on type of pragmatic strategies from descriptive stats, and I doubt that inferential stats would give us more information. Because the most interesting would be how power relation interacts with the other two independent variables, including gender combination and occasion, to influence the use of different types of strategies. But we don't have a sample size large enough to still make sense when broken into so many categories. And now let's look at the other half of gift giving and acceptance behavior, the how to accept a gift. Again, this sequence consists of 3 parts: pre-acceptance, acceptance, and post-acceptance. But none of these 3 parts is absolutely necessary. Direct acceptance of a gift was common by saying yes or thank you, or in an unconventional way, oh, just put it on the table. And the direct acceptance was often accompanied by positive comments on the gift offerer, or the recipient's feeling. Yeah, I really like his color. So that's so nice of you. Yeah, I'm really happy. Yeah. But sometimes the direct acceptance is delayed by, for example, ostensible refusals. So why do you bring me a gift? You are so polite with me. No, you don't. You really don't need to bring me a gift. Those kind of refusals, which are ritual, which look like refusals, but are not really refusals. And sometimes with further inquiry, where did you get it? And in some cases, there's no direct acceptance of the gift at all. So people just simply didn't talk about it. Yeah. Like in gift giving, we see that here, and if you look at the different gender, so we will see it here, the MF, FM, these 2 groups, the blue bar and the yellow bar, And they produced higher numbers of strategies than the other two groups. And it is worth noting that the FM group, female gift giver, male gift recipient, produced the highest number of ostensible refusals. Remember, ostensible refusals are also called ritual refusals, refusals which are not really refusals, and small talk when accepting a gift. And in this case, it's the male who produced all those strategies. When we look at strategy used by occasion, we see that express thanks, again, the blue bar, and seeking favor, the gray bar, elicited lower numbers of direct acceptances, but higher numbers of ostensible refusals than the other four occasions. A closer look at the data also shows that special celebration, which is a yellow bar, special celebration, and the yellow bar, and return from a trip, which is the orange bar, they actually elicited turn initial direct acceptances or positive comments. And at last, we can see that special celebration and traditional festivals, the yellow and the blue bars here, and they also elicited higher numbers of offer of return as post-acceptance strategies. What does it mean? So it's like basically you bring someone a gift and the person said, oh, stay here for dinner, or oh, I'll bring you something nice next time or this time. As for the influence of power relation, we can see that the scenarios of the solidarity relationship, that is when you know the person very well, represented by the orange bar, elicited higher numbers of positive comment and small talk than those of deference relationship, that is when you don't know the gift giver that well. But when you don't know, when one doesn't know the person very well, there tends to be a higher number of ostensible refusals. Okay, so I know this is a lot of data and numbers and sounds like pretty confusing at this point. So let's summarize them and try to interpret what they really mean. To sum up, same gender groups were more likely to issue a gift offer after the initial turn and delay their acceptance of a gift across turns, or even to the point that a direct acceptance never appears. In contrast, different gender groups used higher numbers of strategies in both pre- and post-gift giving and acceptance positions. It is worth noting that male gift recipients in the FM group used the highest number of ostensible refusals to delay their acceptances. So the literature has reported mixed findings about the effect of gender on speech act production, depending on the target speech act, language, and the eliciting scenario. The results of this project seem to suggest more negotiation between the same gender versus a higher level of 客气 or politeness in speech between different genders in Mandarin. So it's two different things. So more negotiation leads to delay, whereas a higher level of 客气is related to politeness in speech, higher frequency of strategies. The results also revealed a potential effect of occasion in how native Chinese speakers position and use pragmatic strategies to sequence gift offering and acceptances. The findings of seeking favor and expressing thanks both elicited a higher number of distal acceptances than the other scenarios. It actually aligns with Su's 2020 study, which found that return for favor invitations and offers were more likely to elicit refusal before acceptance sequences. Different occasions tended to elicit different use of pragmatic strategies in terms of frequency and combination, which aligns with the finding of use of pragmatic strategies being situation specific in the literature. However, Zhu and Yuan's 1998 study finds no effect of occasion, but significant effect of motive. We found their definitions of occasion and motive overlapping. So it's kind of hard to tell what they mean by occasion and what they mean by motive. But a second look at our data suggests a tentative contrast between scenarios if we adopt Bethfu's 1965 binary division of instrumental versus expressive motives for gift-giving behaviors. So obviously seeking favor and express thanks are more instrumental, whereas the rest of them, like celebrating your birthday, return from a trip, visiting the sick, and also another one is traditional festival is more expressive, to express your love for the other person, right? And to follow the social ritual. So this is definitely something worth further investigation. And now let's look at the last factor, power relation. And remember, only social distance is manipulated. And we actually found that when accepting a gift, speakers would delay their acceptances with ostensible refusals when talking to someone with a larger social distance than someone they know well. And they were more likely to use positive comments followed with small talk when talking to someone they know well. This aligns with Zhu and Yuan's finding based on a questionnaire, though they attributed the reported difference to power instead of social distance. So in their design, they manipulate power and distance at the same time. So the gift-giving and acceptance practices reflect and are shaped by the social cultural values and norms of the Chinese society, the ultimate purpose of which is to achieve social harmony. And there are 4 cultural values in play here: 关系, reciprocal relationship, 人情, human emotions, or indebtedness, 面子, which is a socially constructed phase, and 客气, politeness in speech. I want to highlight that our discussion of the social cultural motivations for verbal behavior of gift-giving and acceptance is only post hoc. The study is not primarily designed for this discussion. So due to the time limit, I'll be just very brief here. But basically, the Chinese concept of politeness highlights reciprocity. When someone gives you a gift or invite you to dinner, you are supposed to repay the debt, either now or in the future. And that is how people build their relationship. And our concept of 面子, which is, face, is socially constructed, showing other-oriented politeness. That's why they would do this ritual refusal to turn down the gift first, to acknowledge, to show their consideration for the cost of the gift giver. And all these practices are further conditioned by various contextual factors, including micro and macro social factors, to enhance respectfulness and suppress solidarity, to kind of achieve a balance between the two. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I want to say about the Chinese gift giving and acceptance, verbal behavior in this talk. So thank you very much for your time. And I'm now happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Su, for the great presentation. Now it's time for Q&A. You can ask the questions through the Q&A button. Anyone? Or any comments?
Oh, there's a Q&A, yeah.
Yeah, Wang Jun wants to ask about the individual difference.
Oh, yeah. So that is a very good question. And so I guess for any type of pragmatic research, there's always individual differences. So native speakers actually never agree. So I would say that there's a large, so for this specific project, we actually look at patterns instead of individual differences. Unless you consider gender as a, the ID researchers, the individual difference researchers, they think gender is one of the factors, right? And so there's definitely gender difference, as we can see. But instead of the traditional male versus female kind of thing, what I found is same gender versus different gender. Yeah, but other than that, I would say there's a pretty large variation. So which is also evident in my earlier paper about invitations, responses to invitations and offers. And you can see that even for this ritual refusal kind of thing, not everybody does it. Yeah.
Great. We can take one more question.
Oh, in the amount gift declines by region. Okay, I'll answer Mandy's question really fast. So well, region is controlled in my study because of the exact reason you ask this question, right? There's a lot of regional variation, and so I control all my. That's why I recruited all my participants from students going to the same university, and most of them, I think it's a local, like a small local university, not like a comprehensive university where people from all over the country would go. It's a small local university in Henan province, and most of the students come from that province. So that's how, yeah. If you were to do the same study with an age group, will be the biggest shift in data. I cannot predict the biggest shift in data, but let me tell you, for another project I did, which is a perception study of of Chinese refusals, we ended up collecting data from 2 age groups. But it's not a production study, it's a perception study to see if native speakers can tell, along with the conversation, whether this is going to be a refusal or going to be an acceptance. So whether they can tell it is a ritual or not. So one of the reviewers, the paper is already under review, and one of the reviewers' comments is there might be age difference, and so we actually ended up collecting the data from 2 different groups. Yeah, but the thing is, we collected 20 to 30 years old, and then another one is 40 to 45, because that's just the age group that I had access to. There's not much difference there, but I think the reason is because they're still close enough. Yeah, yeah, but that's a very good question. Thank you.
I was wrong earlier. I think we still have 9 more minutes. So any other questions?
Yeah, so there's Wang Jun has another question. You mentioned your role-play gift-giving dialogue Chinese group is much longer than English. The role-play participants are more talkative in one group. Well, this is related to my previous question. That's another very good question. But what I can tell you is, so the data came from, so I mean, it could be possible, but it's not completely. It can't happen that all the people in the group are just more talkative than the other group. Yeah. So, well, it could be, and also it's their native language, and the instructions for them is simply just do it the way you feel most comfortable with, and as natural as possible. And in fact, I did find this is not about the gift giving, this project, and I guess Wang Jun's question is really about the other project I did earlier. So even native speakers of English, they did ritual refusals, but it's highly conventional. So like, are you sure? I'll take it. Something like that. Yeah. So they use the ritual refusal in such a ritual way that it is always followed by an acceptance directly in the same term. Yeah. And also another interesting anecdote is one of my native English speaker participant told me that she would refuse the invitation before she accepted, because that way she'll look very cool because she's a young college girl and she's popular. She can't just go to your party because you invite her. So that's for like a totally different reason from why Chinese people would refuse your invitation before they accept it. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, it looks like we got another question.
Yeah. Coding scheme. So it's actually based, so I think it's now the time I can share my coding scheme with you. So I wasn't able to open it, I'm not sure, so I can share screen now. So Professor Zhu, can you see my Word document here?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, that's right. So this is basically the coding scheme is grounded from the data and from my data. Although I did borrow categories from previous research, but you know, it's very interesting that people in business communication actually research gift giving and acceptance a lot. But they very rarely, as I mentioned in the talk, really study the actual communication. So that Zhu is not Professor Zhu here, is actually, I think, a business professor. And that's the only one that has some data, although it's recalled conversation. And all the others is like, what would you do? Is basically questionnaire. So there's very little I can borrow in the literature, honestly. Yeah. And even for people doing linguistics, and they're politeness researchers, also not, those studies were not based off, you know, actual data. So my data is also, you know, less than ideal, in that they're elicited, not a natural conversation. Yeah, but it shows us some patterns which are worth further investigation. Yeah, so you'll see this are all my, these are the gift giving strategies. And so there are 8 of them. And then we see the gift acceptance strategies. And my collaborator and I, we would code the data and reach agreement. Yeah, before we put it in for iterator reliability. Yeah. Okay. Stop share.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Oh, there's another one. Uh, Oh, thank you. Yeah. So thank you very much, Wang Jun, for your nice comment. So I did put those on there. I only did inferential stats for discourse pattern of gift giving and acceptance, not on pragmatic strategies, because they are just there are so many categories. I doubt there's any value of inferential stats. I mean, of course, to submit a paper for publication, I have to think about it. So, but right now, yeah, I also didn't want to, you know, throw a bunch of statistics to my audience. So that's why I usually put it on the slides without really talking about it. But thank you very much for the observation. And yeah, I need to clarify that I did inferential stats for part of my data. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, Jill.
Any more questions? Well, if we don't have any more questions, we have another question. Any thoughts?
Authentic dialogue in the future. Well, you know, as a pragmatic researcher, I know Professor Weihua Zhu, you use a lot of, like, most of your research is based on authentic data, right?
Yeah.
So, well, because my research has mostly been targeting like specific type of data, you know, like and I have to say that I come from a second language acquisition background, and so I mostly work with learners. And for learners, there's just, it's simply not possible to have enough natural data for them, right? And then originally I collected native speaker data just as native controls. But then I got really interested in how native speakers behave. Well, I think it is possible, especially for gift giving and acceptance, it is possible to collect some natural conversations. And that's actually something that's on my radar. I'm thinking about doing it, but like when and how. So I'm not sure yet, but that would definitely be worth investigating.
Great.
Mm.
All right.
Mm.
Thank you again, Dr. Su, for answering those questions and for the interesting talk. It was a great pleasure to have you with us. So this concludes the webinar. Thank you all for attending.